Hello and welcome to Sean White's Solar and Energy Storage Podcast at RE.
We're recording live from the Power Up Live Pro Studio presented by TerraHive. Thanks to RE Plus and Suncast Media for hosting us. So what we're doing here is we are talking to some students. Are you all grad students?
I just graduated with my bachelor's, and I'm an incoming master's student next year.
Great, thanks, Julia. And so also we have Yash Ketharam here. And tell us about yourself.
Sure. Yeah, I'm a recent grad from UC San Diego and moving on to a master's program in electronic circuits and systems, same at UC San Diego. And that's kind of what my current graduation status is. I'm also a volunteer at the Center for Community Energy, and that's a nonprofit advocating for V2X.
You know what? I think I've been to the Center for Community Energy. Do they work with San Diego Gas and Electric?
That's right. Yes, we do. And right now we're doing a kind of a program with Viasat to advocate for a solar carport with them, and then blowing up some incentives for them to invest in that.
Yeah, I remember when California had these things called rebates for solar, and they were the Center for Sustainable Energy. Am I saying it right? Or was it a different name at the time?
I don't know that much. I've been with it for 2 years, and for that time it's been the same, Center for Community Energy, CCE.
Okay, maybe I have it right, maybe I don't. But I remember something down there in San Diego, and it was really cool because I love San Diego. And then also we have Ilya Mazalov. And tell us about yourself, Ilya.
I'm a third-year undergraduate student at UC San Diego. This year I'll be a co-president of Engineers for Sustainable World. This is the organization at UC San Diego that brings together different majors of engineering, mostly just unites them under the agenda of sustainability. We also do a lot of renewable energy, and we just unite people, we unite students, and try to motivate them to pursue their degrees and careers in sustainable.
Okay. Great. Well, feel free to bring up any topics. And kind of the way that this came together is Julia contacted me and she just wanted to meet up, and here we are meeting up. And I thought, we might as well just record it and then see what we can come up with. And so you're all students or grad students, and you are the future, and the future depends on you. So what do you think about that? How are you going to make the future better instead of just being on TikTok videos all day?
Yeah, so I'm currently the advisor for the club that Ilya mentioned in the previous co-president. So I think it starts with your local community, the people just talking to them about these issues and educating them. And they're more likely to listen to someone that they know and trust and care for. So I think starting at the grassroots is really important. And so that's what we're trying to do in our local communities with our student organizations. And through the student organizations, we can connect with professionals who are doing this work full time. And I think connecting that connection is really important. So just making sure we have strong connections. And that's also why we're here at RE Plus, to make more connections and meet people who are doing really interesting work, and maybe work we haven't even heard of before, and just get exposed to all those kinds of things. Yeah, so.
Cool. So as far as your success here at RE Plus, I guess it's probably your first RE Plus. Oh, it's your second?
That's right.
So Yash is the second. How about you, Ilya?
First for me.
First for you too. So what kind of success have you had at making connections and things like that? And where do you see that going? Does anybody want to grab the mic?
Yeah, I can take that. So with this, in my first time at RE Plus, I was a little more timid for sure, because it's a very nice space. There's brilliant exhibits here, and everyone's kind of welcoming too. But at the same time, it was my first time. But with the second time, more comfortable in the space for sure. And with the connections I've made, so I'm also kind of a part of Engineers for a Sustainable World, as the rest of my colleagues are, but I'm in Triton Solar Car. So it's a kind of a team underneath that kind of coalition in a way. And with that, I'm more involved with the power electronics. So there's a great space for me. And even if the connections I make aren't exactly power electronics, there are people that are very passionate about renewable energy. At the end of the day, it's a community in a sense. And keeping in touch with that community has been a great thing. So yeah, I made some nice connections there, and it's a network really. So I plan on using that network and getting more awareness in the space.
So what is Solar Car?
It's Triton Solar Car, yeah. So as the name implies, a solar-powered car, and it's within the organization of American Solar Car Challenge. And what we're trying to do is build a car to race in the Formula Sun Grand Prix It's an endurance race that lasts 3 days long, and and that qualifies you for a cross-country race. It's like a 7-day long, 15,000 to 2,000 mile race. Right now we're on our first car, so we're just learning for sure. And this kind of space is a big opportunity for us to learn more and make the connections that would help our team get the stuff we need and get funding we need, and just overall advice, which is great.
So like with the solar car, does it like include batteries? Like you charge it? Can you charge it from the grid? How does that work?
Yeah, so for solar car, it's like top to bottom. Most teams will buy their own motor, but for the most part, you make the solar panels yourself. So you'll have the cells and you encapsulate it from the ground up. So there's a whole process, and to make sure that these cells don't break because they're fragile, right? And you also make the battery pack from scratch. So we have the individual cells, and we make the battery pack based on our motor, the wattage that we choose for that. So it's from top to bottom. We just designed the electrical system. And yeah, so it's a very hands-on project. And that's why being in this space, getting like advisors in a sense, is all we needed in our first car.
Where's the race?
The first one for us on Grand Prix is in Kentucky.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeehaw.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
That's right.
They could race some horses there too. But I guess horses are solar powered. They eat grass and all that kind of stuff.
It's rather renewable. It's rather renewable, yeah.
Like photovoltaics, all that stuff, photosynthesis. What's the difference? It's all some kind of photo.
Emissions only, I guess.
Yeah.
Emissions is the difference, but
Oh yeah. Are you complaining about the horse emissions?
Yes.
Yeah.
Gotta keep them in mind.
Yeah, but they do less emissions than cars.
Surely.
We should just return the horses.
More than photovoltaic systems, still.
Yeah, they said that like if before they had cars, like you go down to New York City and it was just like a huge job was to get that manure out of there.
Oh.
Yeah. So it was just like a full-on industry, and they got rid of that industry. It must have like put everybody out of work.
Yeah.
There must have been a manure recession or something like that. No shit. So I'm wondering too, like you're all like college age, and what is your generation? It's like you're not millennial, right?
Our generation is Gen Z, technically, so we're known for like the Gen Z stare, but I don't really understand what that is. And I'm Gen Z. I don't know if you guys do, but yeah, so I mean, there's a really wide range of us because, there's so many people, population's growing, but also social media has so many different pockets. There's so many different pockets of the internet, right? There's like renewable energy, like sustainable, like we care about social justice and like all those kinds of things. But then there's also the people who are just like siloed and they like their own communities, like whether it's like a TV show or video game or whatever community. So I feel like we're very diverse. But social media has helped us to connect with like-minded people and grow our communities. So I think it's actually good that more of us get into the space.
Can I count on you for making everybody in your generation like to just go out there and make sure that they're all like more renewable energy minded and care about the planet and all that kind of stuff? Like you're going to make that happen, right? You promise?
I think that we already care. Like the people I talk to, like it's like a pressing thing. Our full life has been like thinking about, oh no, the planet, the housing crisis, all those kinds of things. So we've just grown up with it. So we're definitely aware of it, I think. But yeah, it would definitely help to talk more about it with people, even though sometimes it may be hard.
Yeah, I was just thinking too, is like your generation might be the first generation when you were like born or come of age where actually the temperature of the planet heating up can actually be significantly measured where it's for sure and not just some kind of theory.
Right, yeah. And like all of the natural disasters that have been going on and all the things in the news have definitely like, we pay attention to these things and it's definitely like a real issue for people today.
So do you think like your generation is going to make a big difference, whereas like a lot of times it's just generation after generation just kind of like hands it on to the next generation? And then I know a lot of people in your generation can probably blame my generation. I'm Generation X, and so we have like just a letter too. So maybe we should team up and go against those boomers and millennials. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's cool.
I think millennials are fine.
Millennials are cool.
Millennials are cool. We like millennials.
We're all kind of on the same internet, right? With millennials, they're very close. The internet has a way with that, with connecting kind of niches and such. They people have the same kind of slang nowadays. Millennials aren't so far off, so we're cool with millennials, definitely.
But boomers, right?
Yeah.
We don't want to start a generational war right now.
Yeah, I think our generation will definitely be the one to step up, and Generation Alpha too. That's the real
my
youngins.
daughter. Yeah, she's 11. Yeah.
I think Z and Alpha are definitely going to be the ones to step up because we have, millennials and X to back us up. Because there's a lot of research that's been done and like shown, and that these guys are saying, hey, time is now. We're out of time. We really gotta push these renewables. And in kind of Z and Alpha, we're listening basically. We're listening to people like come before us, and we can't ignore the fires that are happening, like literal fires that are happening in our backyard. And the flooding as well, and seeing just how much hurricanes develop in the Gulf as well. So there's a lot of stuff we can't ignore anymore, and the time is now, basically.
One thing I noticed too is when I was younger, there was like a lot of like more activism, like people out there having protests and making a big difference. I guess it was like not too far after the people remembered like the Vietnam War and the draft and all that kind of stuff. It was like I was kind of too young at that time, but it seems like there's just been a lot of apathy as time goes on, and I'm definitely not blaming Generation Z. I gotta start doing the alphabet because you're not old enough to make the difference. But also, I guess too, like instead of like holding up signs and all that kind of stuff, which maybe didn't even work so well, I'm not sure. But you do have the social media, and everybody is connected, and so big changes can happen quick. Sometimes they might not be so good because there's a lot of like misinformation on there. Do you think that people that grew up with the internet, like yourselves, are good at like filtering out like what's real? Like it used to be that you only had so much media. So you would have a couple of stations and they would have to do programming that everybody would listen to, like Democrats and Republicans and everybody else. And nowadays, everybody's got their own little station. And in fact, it's even more polarized because you could look and it's like there might be Democrats probably have like 3 different levels, and so do Republicans and everything else. So like, what do you think about like the filtering and how people can like go like, oh, that's real, that's not? I'm sure you're probably like better at it than most people because you're scientists and going to college and all that kind of stuff. We interrupt you for a very important announcement. Sean White's Solar and Energy Storage Podcast has been brought to you by Sean White's Solar and Energy Storage Podcast. That's right, Sean White is sponsoring his own podcast, and he wants to remind you to go check out some of his classes. You can go to SolarSEAN, that's solar, SEAN.com, and then click on the links to check out his classes. You can check out his heat spring classes, and you can also hire him to teach classes for you, like at your company, something like that. Now back to the show.
I mean, as scientists, we try to like reason as much as possible, right? It's not something that everybody does, but it's something that you really have to. I kind of grew into not trusting the internet's resources.
That's good.
Like as is. So it always has this like background processing saying like, oh, this might be not true. This is probably not true or something like that. Also comment sections on social media help. This is where you actually get to know other people's opinion on this topic that's being like posted on social media. So yeah, always be mindful of what you're, receiving, of the information you're receiving.
Great.
Yeah. Fact check, essentially.
Okay, yeah. And it's like some people, they get the fact check and they're like, oh, the fact checkers, they're a scam, or, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's just kind of, I don't know, but maybe there isn't a good answer to this, like how people should think critically and get their own information and all that.
I think like if you cross-check with a bunch of other sources, they kind of teach us this in school a little bit, like just, look at other sources and see if they're saying similar information. Try to find experts with credentials, although, even the experts are not always right 100% of the time, but most of the time they know better than the average person posting on the internet. So if you can cross-check with a bunch of different sources that are reputable, I think that's a good way to do it. And yeah, it takes more work, but if you want to have the right information, then you kind of need to do that. Information is not easy to get. People go to school for it. So yeah.
My addition is that we're at a time where misinformation pays. There's a direct relationship between inflammatory language and clicks, right? Especially that in social media too. So it's kind of in a space where there has to be some awareness and also understanding with other folks too, where that they're just misinformed. So there's a sense of patience you have to have with people that aren't as keen, and also that might tie their own ego to their stances. That's a big thing that I've seen too, where people are just no, I can't be wrong, because then my whole foundations are wrong. So then there's a bit of patience in saying, hey, I want to work with you, and helping dispel those kind of dispel the misinformation that they've bought into, and working together. Because at the end of the day, like with renewable energy, it's all about, it's an ecosystem, it's an environment that we want to protect, and with that, we're all on the same earth, right?
So how do you all learn about renewable energy and pass that on?
Oh, well, we have a club for that. Yeah. Come join us at the UC San Diego chapter of Engineers for a Sustainable World. And plenty chances to find your local chapter, your local organization that will have people that are like aware of what's happening. So go ask them, talk to them. They will probably be very friendly and open-minded towards, educating you onto like what's going on, in fact.
Yeah, I think for me, it was first when I chose my major. I had the chance to do specialization in renewable energy and environmental flows, mechanical engineering. So I did that because I was like, this is a pressing issue for our generation. But I didn't get to do a renewable energy class until my third year of college. So by then I had already taken like most of the foundational mechanical engineering classes. But this class really showed me that this issue or topic of renewable energy is very interdisciplinary, and I really like that because just like it's a people problem as well as an environmental problem as well as a engineering problem, like technical problem. But right now it seems to be mostly a people problem. So I think that like taking classes in your college, and hopefully if your college doesn't offer it, then you can like advocate. I think recently UC San Diego passed people need to take a climate change course actually, and that was recently like the Jane something.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so it's a new requirement now. So I think colleges and universities and schools in general need to work on their curriculum for educating students about this new challenge. And actually, I'm working on small like boot camp for like renewable energy engineering because I work at an education center. So I have a lot of like kids who go there. Yeah.
And then a quick jump is when I came into UC San Diego, I had no plans on renewable. I just said, I want to make stuff. I'll do electrical engineering. That was my jump. And then there's on our library walk, there's a bunch of clubs that come up, and I saw a solar car. And I was like, oh, that sounds cool. I like, EVs or something I want to do. Solar powered that sounds cool. And when I joined as a first year, I didn't know anything electrical engineering, but they still took me in. And our late advisor, Ray, he had a good approach where, for my language, he wanted to say, let's make renewable energy sexy with the car. And
That's cool. Yeah.
And that's like a good way to do it. If you can make it look attractive, that'll push people to jump in like, hey, what is that? That's the first step is what is that? The curiosity is what we really want to invite. And that's what organizations like Engineers for a Sustainable World, like how Julia and Ilya are doing and, carrying is where we build that curiosity for people to just jump into it. And I think that's how we get people involved.
I have a question for you, Sean. So, as an educator, right, you probably have experienced many times the importance of having your students highly motivated, right, to study some certain subject, right? What kind of an advice, perhaps, to us? We are like trying to spread the awareness in our club, right? So, educate people. What kind of an advice can you give? How can we motivate people, students, to actually like get into this space, to get into sustainability, to like renewable engineering and stuff like that?
To make it fun, to make it meaningful. Yep. So you got to make it fun, you got to make it meaningful. And also it's convenient too that it's the first time in history where doing the right thing is doing the thing that makes you the most money. Probably, Before it was like you have to do all these things to like ruin the atmosphere, hurt people, violate people's rights to get rich.
Yeah.
And now we're doing the right thing, and solar energy and energy storage and wind is the cheapest form of electricity, and it's doing the right thing, and it's going to make all of you millionaires, guaranteed, right? Well, yeah, thanks for talking to me. It was a great way to meet everyone. And have you all signed up for heat spring classes yet?
Yes, I love Heat Spring. That's how I heard about Sean. I was like, so I was super happy that we got to connect and meet. And actually, I have just one more question for you because I know that you wrote a book.
Yeah, 11.
Okay, wow. You're like a published author. I have a question like, how did you start that? What was your inspiration for writing a book? That's something on my bucket list personally. So like, if you have any tips.
As far as like writing a book, a publisher approached me a long time ago, and that's how it started. But I would think too, like, you can go and find a publisher and all that kind of stuff. It's not a bad idea. And I wanted to make a book that was simple and easy to read for the general public. And so I remember there was like a really good book called Photovoltaic Systems by Jim Dunlop that everybody was using. And it had all the beginner, intermediate, and advanced stuff in one book. And I wanted to make one that was just for beginner. And so I made like a small, easy, I wanted to make it pocket size, a pocket size book. In fact, Barack Obama put one in his pocket, and so that's how I smuggled it in there, because they told me not to bring it, and I put it in my pocket, But yeah, like Amazon publishing is real easy. In fact, I'm going to start doing more Amazon publishing. You can go in there, you could change the book, you could put a comma in a different place, and it's not like some big kind of rewrite. You don't have to wait for all this professional publishing things that take a long time, and in this fast-growing industry, it's too long. Yeah. So yeah, just do it. Just write a book, and then you can change it. You can always like fix it up. You could start small. You could write a 10-page book. You probably can go longer than that. I would even do that. Just like start with chapter 1 and publish it, and then add chapter 2. Like, why not?
Quick question. Then after writing a book, how to get it in the pocket of Barack Obama?
Oh, how to get in the pocket of Barack Obama?
It's maybe an excessive question, but how do you get there?
I was just lucky. I got an email. I was at the right place at the right time, and I waited in line for a long time, and I got to meet him.
All right. Well,
okay. Well, thanks everyone, and then let me just have you say your name really quick and what you do.
Sure. My name is Yash Ketharam, and I am a recent graduate and master's student at UC San Diego. I am the electrical lead for Triton Solar Car at UC San Diego, as well as a student volunteer at the Center for Community Energy, a nonprofit advocating for V2X.
Hi, I'm Julia Lee. I'm a recent graduate of UC San Diego in mechanical engineering. I just finished work at a utility scale developer doing solar plants. And then I'm an incoming master's student next year doing mechanical engineering, specializing in power systems. And currently I'm doing business operations, engineering, and outreach for Math Education Center, and working on a curriculum to educate young kids, elementary through middle school through high school, about renewable energy and engineering.
And what heat spring class are you in?
I've taken the solar career pathways, the how to install solar. I'm working on the battery one right now because batteries are, really important if we want to make this sustainable. So, yeah, doing batteries.
Great. Okay, and that's my battery class, right? The Energy Storage Boot Camp?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to get a membership.
Okay, great. Okay, and then here we go, one more.
My name is Ilya Mazalov. I am a third-year undergrad at UCSD, earning my degree in nanoengineering, which is fancy word for material science. I chose this major because I really want, and I am currently working in like a research lab, working on improving the materials that we use in sustainable technologies, aka making better solar panels, making better batteries. And yeah, this is what I'm passionate about, and I hope that I can apply my mind towards, improving the technology that we have.
Okay, it's all up to you, Generation Z. That's the last letter of the alphabet, and that's the real important one right now. And I have lots of hope right now. And just want to remind everybody that we're recording live for the Power Up Live Pro Studio presented by TerraHive. Thanks to RE Plus and Suncast Media for hosting us. And thanks for listening to Sean White's Solar and Energy Storage Podcast. Go to SolarSEAN.com, and you can go from there and find out what class that you can take where you would have Julia Lee in your class. Learn about energy storage and all kinds of fun stuff. Woo!
Yeah. Amazing. It's just amazing that it's free courses. I mean, you have to pay for the membership to get more, but I think it's definitely worth it. Especially if you're like me and you're looking for a job, taking a gap year, and you want to upskill, but you don't want to do a university class because those are, kind of expensive, right? This is a really low cost way to learn all about renewable energy, and they also have building energy efficiency classes, anything related to energy. So I think it's great. So yeah, I really highly recommend it.
All right, thanks so much, Julia, and take that from a grad student too, somebody who's really smart.
It's gonna prepare me for grad school, I think.
Awesome. So glad to have you all here. So glad to meet all of you, and let's stay in touch.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Let's meet back again when Generation Alpha's in college. All right.
My little brother, yeah, he's gonna do it in 3 years.
Awesome. Okay. All right. Thanks, everyone.